Hey guys, welcome to another video by Empire. So we had a few messages about people asking about what the price of Klima has been tanking today and the last couple of days really. So a few people asked me about what my thoughts were on that and what our thoughts were about if Ohm and Wonderland and other Daos are going to tank along with it. So I'm going to quickly talk about that. We're going to compare about the Klima June analytics, compare it to Ohm, go through the Ohm's data and compare it to Wonderland's data as well. Reason I'm going to compare it to Ohm and Wonderland is they're clearly the most established DAOs. Okay, so I'm going to compare all the figures to that so you can see that why Klima has dropped. Okay, so I got in Klima the day it launched and I actually sold a portion out to when it ran up to about 3,200. I was selling from 3,200 all the way down back to about 1,800, and from that point on I only left about 1.5 Klima in there or something like that. So at the moment I'm only holding two Klima or something around there, which is tiny for the amount of crypto that I hold, but that's because I thought that there was a pretty good chance it was going to drop around to somewhere around this price, and I moved my money into other things. So yeah, I'm going to explain to you what I was looking at when I came up with that theory, and use that to sort of show you how I evaluate DAOs that I'm looking at to invest in. So for those of you that don't know too much about Klima, yeah, jump on, have a bit of read. I think it's a great project, and I think now it's actually at decent levels that if I wasn't already in, I'd be looking to sort of buy in now. And if we drop a bit lower, I'm probably going to put a bit more money back into it now that we're back down at a pretty reasonable valuation. Okay, so one thing I do like about Klima compared to all these other Ohm forks that are popping up is they're just doing something different. Okay, with the carbon in the treasury and the backing of the carbon, it's a completely different, type of DAO. It's a completely different reserve currency protocol than all these copy and paste that are popping up. So I do still rate Klima, and I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on it now that price has come to a reasonably fair valuation. And if we drop a bit lower, I'm definitely going to add to my holdings again now. So the reason I sold originally was I jumped onto this June analytics. Okay, so you don't get too much data on the website. To get all the proper data, you want to jump into June analytics, and this is where you want to pull it all from. Okay, so this is where you get information about the RFV, so the risk-free value, the backing per Klima. So these are the figures you want to always be looking at. But this is the pretty big important one here. Okay, so this is the backing of circulating Klima. At the moment, it's $188. Okay, so when I sold, this was tiny. So when the protocol first came out, they obviously didn't have many bonds and things like that yet. So they were building the treasury up. So with all the hype, it just took off. And if you compared the numbers to Ohm and Wonderland and things like that, then it was pretty obvious that a big pullback was due. Okay, but if you look at this price now, so if you compare this, so $684 as the price of Klima with $188 market value backing it, okay, that's a 3.6x. Okay, so that is pretty consistent with the price that it should be at. Okay, previously the market value backing it was even lower and the price was higher, and we were sitting at like a 15x at one point. Okay, so if you compare that to Wonderland, okay, the price of Wonderland and then the backing per it, okay, we're at 3.79. Okay, so Klima is now valued around the same area as Wonderland. So before it was way overvalued. Okay, and then if we go to Olympus, so your price at 733, and then your backing per Ohm 152, that's a 4.8x. Okay, so I like to base everything sort of around Olympus. So compared to Olympus, Wonderland is only a 3.7, so it's a little undervalued compared to that. But Klima is now only with this drop back sitting around the same valuation as time. Okay, so that was the main thing that I was looking at. But the reason that I'm still not going to go jumping too heavily into Klima at this stage, and the reason why I still favour Wonderland over it, is although they're still valued at the same point now, the runway on Klima is only at 100 days. Okay, so you need to be careful of this, because if we do enter a bear market, that 100 days is going to dry up pretty quick. Okay, because they got that. And then the one thing that they're still building is because they're still building the treasury, they don't really have any other income streams. Okay, not that I'm aware of anyway. I haven't been too over it, just because I don't have too much invested at the moment. I've been waiting to sort of let the project build up a bit more, find its feet a bit more, and then I might jump back in. So you compare the fact that they don't have any other revenue streams compared to Olympus, where they've got Olympus Pro, they've got all these other assets that they've then deployed to bring them an income, like they hold AVE, they hold Sushi Swap, all these sort of things, which is the same thing if Wonderland's starting to do. So if you don't know about that, watch that recent update video that we did, because they're now deploying their treasury balance because they've got 878 million. They're now deploying that to create other income streams. Okay, so the backing per time should start going up through the other income streams, which is the same as what Olympus is doing, and Klima just aren't at that point yet. So the only way their market value is going up is by people bonding and basically giving them assets. They don't really have anything generating an income yet. I'm sure that's going to come, but those are the sort of factors as to why them being overvalued compared to OHM and compared to time was just stupid, okay? And it was always going to drop. Right, so we're never really going to tell you guys when exactly we're buying and when exactly we're selling on this channel, just because I guarantee you, I'll tell you to do one thing and the price is going to pump the next day, and you don't want to be responsible for telling people what to do exactly with their money. Right? But when you are looking at new DAOs you want to invest in and things like that, that's the main thing to look at, guys. Always come back, compare it to the main two, compare it to OHM, Wonderland, and that's what you want to look for. Is you want to look at the price of it, and what is the ratio between the price and the backing. Okay, that's what you want to look at, the price and the backing, and then look at the runway. You want a decent runway, and you want the price to be as close to the backing value as possible. Okay, the further you are away from that, just the further that it should the markets turn or things like that, it's got a long way to fall. So that's why now that Klima, now the markets aren't looking as strong as they are. I think a little bit of the hype's come out of Klima, but now that we are down to this fair value, it's definitely a project that I'd be keeping my eye on. And if you're not involved yet, start to accumulate a little bit. So the bit that I've got left, I'll be holding for 12 months just to see what happens, because I've already made decent profit on it. And what I left in there knowing that it was most likely going to tank. But I still believe in what they're doing, and I think in 12 months' time we'll see what happens with it. And yeah, hopefully you guys sort of took a bit from that and understand how to read these junior analytics a bit, so that your market cap, price in BCT. So the BCT, that's the base carbon ton, right? But unless you know what the price of the base carbon ton is, it doesn't really mean too much to you. The main one is you want to look at the actual price of it. The index, that's obviously for every one Klima you started with, you've got 2.1 now. So that's starting to grow, and that's going to start ticking along now. But yeah, the main one's the backing and things like that you guys want to look at. So yeah, hopefully that sort of clears up a few of the questions that people are asking me. Yeah, let us know if you got any other content you want us to make for you. All right, thanks guys. We'll get another video out soon. All right, see ya.